Wall Street Sizing Up, guys. It's Mark here. Just wanted to jump on. Let's talk about crypto. This week in crypto is what I'm calling it. What is that? TWIC. That's what we're going to go with. So first up, I want to talk about Bitwise, right? Bitwise, you can see them on the screen here. They had a crypto index fund that privately you could get into, but now they are traded on the OTC markets under BITW, all the big brokerage accounts. You can buy it there. Fidelity, Charles Schwab, E-Trade, TD's got it because that's where I bought it. I believe it was up 14% today. Don't quote me on that, or you can fact check me on that. Essentially, what it is, it's a basket of cryptocurrencies. It's literally the top 10. So as of November 3rd, and again, they rebalance monthly. November 30th, they had 75% Bitcoin, 13% ETH, and the remaining 12% was XRP, Litecoin, Chainlink, Tezos, so on and so forth, right? Now here's the deal. I'm not a big fan of some of those cryptos, right? If we look at the top market caps, you can see there Bitcoin, XRP again, Litecoin, Chainlink. Not a big fan of the Litecoin. I get it's an OG crypto, and that's probably why it's there. A lot of people hold it, so I see that's why they're going to include that in the basket. XRP to me is still a mystery. If I could invest directly in Ripple Labs, I probably would. I think their management's great, but the XRP coin, not so sure. But Bitwise vehicle provides another publicly traded Bitcoin proxy for investors, right? So if you don't want to trade Bitcoin and get on the exchanges and take it off and hold your keys, they might get lost, might get stolen, whatever you think it is, you can get exposure on the public markets. You got Grayscale, you got MicroStrategy that we'll talk about in just a second. You've got Galaxy Digital Holdings, and now you've got Bitwise, BITW, right? Speaking of MicroStrategy, Michael Saylor is the CEO. Before they bought the first tranche of 400 million in Bitcoin, he had about, I want to say 17,000 Bitcoins. Personally, it was like 270 million. He told his board that. He literally, I saw a tweet today, he told his board that the board was good with it, so they went ahead with the $400 million buy of Bitcoin. Now they come back, taking another bite of the apple. $550 million worth of convertible notes is what they sold in a private placement. And what's that going to go to? To buy more Bitcoin. You guessed it. So again, you can see the demand for Bitcoin skyrocketing, and that's what, clearly that's why the price is going up. But it's going up, and the supply just keeps getting eaten up and eaten up. We'll talk about how much Galaxy, literally the big three, how much Grayscale, Square, and PayPal are all literally buying up when it comes to Bitcoin. I also wanted to highlight this. Fidelity will now let customers use Bitcoin as collateral. A lot of Bitcoin type services were already doing this, but this is a big time. They're now going to use their New York Financial Services Charter and put that to good use. Also, BlockFi is partnering with Fidelity to help manage the risk by offering cash worth 60% of so they'll loan you about 60% of what you have in Bitcoin. So you can go buy more Bitcoin, right? Isn't that the thing, right? You have a bag of Bitcoin, you get a loan on the Bitcoin, you go buy more Bitcoin, Bitcoin goes up. It's not a bad little deal. It's not a bad, in fact, it is a good deal. A lot of people are doing that. A lot of people on Wall Street are doing that too with GBTC, and that's with the premium, which the premium now is from 10 to 18% is what I see. One of the things also I just don't understand. So U.S. lawmakers introduced a bill that would require stable coin issuers to obtain bank charters. And this is a lot of bank charters. This is like 3 different federal agencies that they would have to go through. So the representative from Minnesota, who I guess she's a progressive, right? Rashida Tlaib, I think is her name. She was one of three. She's probably the lead. She proposed a Stable Act, which I'm sure you guys have heard about this. Um, According to her, the bill is designed to prevent cryptocurrency providers from repeating the crimes against low and moderate income residents of color. Okay, I'm going to kind of call bull on that, right? Because when you read the act, all it's doing is the regulations are so stifling. All it is helping the big banks and the bankers who are already wealthy. So what are you saying? Like, that is the biggest hypocritical bull I've ever seen. A number of stablecoin issuers currently operate with banking charters, including Circle and Coinbase, Gemini, Paxios, stablecoin like Basis Cash, or crypto collateral tokens like DAI would also appear to fall under this bill. Right? So they all are without these charters. So if the stable coin goes away, Bitcoin gets hurt big time, right? And in times like this, we need a stimulus package. We don't need stable coin regulation. I don't even like, what are they doing? Next up, I want to talk about Mass Mutual, right? Listen to this. They are a 170-year-old insurance company. They have just bought $100 million out of their general investment fund of Bitcoin. Again, not a lot of supply out there. So that's going to push it up. And if you want to get exposure, Mass Mutual spokesperson told Bloomberg that the $100 million investment represents only the first step in taking a direction in more Bitcoin investment and opportunities in crypto. I thought that was a very interesting statement as well. One of the things I also want to talk about is JP Morgan came out and they have essentially said Bitcoin investment adoption is rising at the expense of gold. Yeah, it's a rocket ship, and people are pulling out of gold and getting into Bitcoin. Kind of the same thing. It's a stable. Well, it's not stable, but I would say clearly it's a value like gold. It is a. It's just it. The thing about it is, if you look at Grayscale, Grayscale owns about 10 billion in AUM of Bitcoin. Clearly, they're number one, I believe, in the world that owns Bitcoin, except for maybe a few individuals out there, right? But Bitcoin being the store of value, much like gold. Here's the thing: GBTC is attracting billions of inflows into. They've gone from, I believe it was 7 billion in October to 10 billion in literally mid-December, versus the modest outflows in much larger gold market, right? So let's talk about that for a second. When you talk about Bitcoin, you've got to include GBTC owns about 10 billion under management in their flagship Bitcoin investment trust, right? That's nearly 3% of all outstanding BTC. Square's got about 50 million, and PayPal, there's no really reported numbers. They're buying it up. Their user base. The cool thing about their user base is that, like, of all smartphones in the world, PayPal is installed on 60% of them. 60%, and that includes their Venmo app, right? So that's like 400 million users. Crazy. 26 million vendors or merchants. They're like the 19th or 20th largest bank. Square, I wouldn't say they're right behind them, but they are, clearly getting up there as well. They've got about 30 to 40 million users with 2 million merchants, and they do about 106 billion in payment volume. So that's pretty cool. But here's the stat that you want to know, and this is, again, the supply and demand. The supply going down, demand going up. New Bitcoin purchases from PayPal, Square, and Grayscale already exceed newly mined BTC rewards or Bitcoin rewards that the miners get rewarded for mining, right? Which means all of the Bitcoin is essentially spoken for the day it's mined. That is crazy to think about. That all of the Bitcoin that is being mined is being sucked up and sucked up fast. And that's just the big three. You've got all these titans of Wall Street, hedge funds that are investing in Bitcoin. You can see where I'm going with the same thing that the JP Morgan investment bank analysis said on the IB side. You know, that demand is far outstripping supply. But here's where it gets a little scary. So you've got Argentina, Turkey, Iran, to a certain extent, Venezuela too. These are they're struggling with their capital controls. They all have their own central banks, much like the U.S. does. They can print their own money, but the problem is they have very, very high inflation. They have poor financial infrastructure in place, and they see Bitcoin as we all do. It's the new gold. It's the new store of value. So here's the thing. So they're following the playbook, not of the U.S. central banks. They're following the playbooks of the companies in the U.S. getting exposure to Bitcoin. So why wouldn't they do this? So they're going. So if you're a central bank in any of these poor countries, you don't have to outrun the bear market in their countries. Here, stocks are up. Well, stocks are up 10%, but your high flying tech stocks, for the most part, are up 20, 30, 40%. But for these central banks in these poor countries, you don't have to outrun their bear markets. You simply have to outrun the countries with whom you trade. They're going to print worthless reserves, but in their countries, they can buy Bitcoin in their currency and mine more Bitcoin. It's a big gamble, but it's a big. We see it as a big gamble, but to them, as inflation rises, Bitcoin is their hedge. That's all I'm saying, guys. And so it's good for the Bitcoin price that they're doing that. Far more demand. But I think U.S. regulators, and this is where they're going to attack Bitcoin at, and that's what I see. So, but anyway, that's this week in crypto. Truly, Bitcoin for the most part. Watcher 6, go hard in the paint, and guys, if you want to see more of these videos and my thoughts on crypto, because I have a lot. I've been in crypto since 2012. Wish I'd bought more, as we all do back then. But yeah, I've got a lot of opinions as I've lived crypto for a very, very long time now. So with that, guys, cheers. Have a great weekend. We'll see you. Well, good day, good evening, and whatever time it may be. We hope you enjoyed that video as much as we enjoyed making it. Please hit the like or the subscribe or leave a comment, because we love that feedback. And you know what we say. At the casino, you got to watch your six. And you go hard in the paint, guys. Cheers. We'll see you next time.